Now you're going to meet a record breaker who's truly unbelievable. Before the break, I ask you which one of these three guys could do unreal things with his skin.
The word superpower often makes us think of fantastical abilities like magic. However, there are extraordinary real-world powers that certain people possess.
This is Wim Hof.
I am the Iceman!
Ones that seem to defy science and nature. These rare skills astonish even researchers. Join us as we show you 20 people with superpowers caught on camera. Number 20, Mr. Eats Everything. In the world of diets, from the keto diet to the raw food diet and the plant-based diet, each has its distinct rules and permissions. But there's one thing none of these diets includes: an airplane. The human digestive system is remarkably adaptable, a fact exemplified by the astonishing feats of French entertainer Michel Lotito, also known as Mr. Eats Everything. Lotito pushed the boundaries of belief by consuming metal, glass, and other objects that should be impossible to swallow and digest. Lotito discovered his unusual talent as a teenager when he started eating bicycle parts and broken glass without apparent harm. Doctors found he had an abnormally thick stomach lining and powerful digestive acids, making his stomach a virtual chemical reactor able to dissolve almost anything. Capitalizing on his special gift, Lotito began performing public eating demonstrations. On a typical day, he would snack on nails, bolts, razor blades, and lit cigarettes. He ate an entire bicycle by 1978, a television set in 1980, and a shopping cart by 1990. Lotito's peak came in 1997, when at age 42, he consumed an entire Cessna 150 airplane. He spent roughly 2 years nibbling small pieces of the aircraft, including the aluminum siding, tires, and glass windows. By the end, he had eaten the entire plane except the engines and steel frame, a total of over 1,500 pounds. Despite a diet of metal, Lotito suffered no ill health effects apart from feeling sluggish after big meals. His only side effect seemed to be stinky burps following one of his bizarre banquets. Sadly, he died of natural causes in 2007 at the age of 57. Number 19. Mini Hulk. Superhuman strength is a remarkable trait that many superheroes possess, often attributed to secret serums, radiation exposure, or other extraordinary circumstances. Captain America's incredible strength is the result of the super soldier serum, while the Hulk's formidable power stems from gamma-ray exposure. Yet there are exceptional individuals who appear to naturally wield astonishing abilities solely due to their genetic makeup, such as the renowned Mini Hulk, Liam Hoekstra. From infancy, Liam astounded doctors with muscle mass and abilities far beyond his years. At just 5 months old, he could stand upright and climb stairs without assistance. By 6 months, Liam performed full chin-ups with ease. He didn't just look muscular, he put his strength to use, hauling around furniture as a toddler that most adults would struggle to lift. Liam gained global attention in 2014 from the documentary The World's Strongest Toddler. The program followed experts' attempts to unravel the medical mystery behind this super baby. The source was a rare genetic condition, a deficiency in myostatin, the protein that inhibits muscle growth. With this blockade removed, Liam's muscles ballooned to shocking proportions for a small child. Tests confirmed Liam's power was off the charts. At age 3, he broke records for the fastest 33-foot hand walk while weighted down. A year later, he smashed records for angled push-ups. Footage showed Liam effortlessly crunching sit-ups with the six-pack of a professional bodybuilder. His strength excelled over his dad's, able to crush grip challenges no one else could. Number 18. French Spider-Man. Dreamed of having Spider-Man's powers without the need for a radioactive spider bite? Meet Alain Robert, the French Spider-Man, who defies expectations by scaling towering skyscrapers using just his bare hands for over 4 decades. Robert has been climbing famous structures worldwide, often without ropes, harnesses, or any safety equipment. He relies solely on his grip strength and careful technique to ascend hundreds of feet into the air. This daring climbing maverick has tackled landmarks like the Eiffel Tower, the Empire State Building, Petronas Twin Towers, and countless other dizzying precipices. To many, Robert's exploits seem beyond reckless, flirting with death given the lethal falls possible. Yet despite over 100 arrests for trespassing and public nuisance, he keeps climbing in his signature colorful attire. Because for Robert, feeding his passion comes first, legal risks be damned, and through thousands of climbs, he's fine-tuned spider-like abilities to defy gravity using only fingertips and toe holds. Robert shows no signs of stopping. To celebrate his 60th birthday, he free-climbed Paris's 613-foot building. He relished the opportunity to prove that age should not slow down the pursuit of life's thrills. According to Robert, his urban acrobatics are about sending a message that we can all continue challenging our limits at any age. Number 17. The Iceman. Wim Hof has mastered control over his body temperature in ways thought impossible. Called the Iceman, he uses meditation techniques to withstand freezing conditions that could kill a normal person. Hof was born in the Netherlands in 1959. As a teenager, he began experimenting with cold exposure during hiking trips. He eventually formulated specialized breathing methods that allowed him to generate heat and survive extremes. Running shirtless and shoeless may not seem like a superhuman ability until you consider that Wim Hof ran a half marathon 120 miles north of the Arctic Circle in temperatures approaching -4 degrees Fahrenheit, completing it in 5 hours and 25 minutes. His most superhuman feat was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro barefoot while wearing only his trademark black shorts. During the climb, his core body temperature actually increased, a feat unmatched by anyone else. Hof also holds multiple records for swimming under ice. In 2020, he submerged for 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 10 seconds in a frozen lake. When pulled out, his core temperature had risen slightly above normal. Doctors attribute his skill to self-induced vasodilation and altering oxygen uptake. The Iceman's resistance goes beyond cold alone. He has proven able to impact normal involuntary functions like heart rate, adrenaline response, and inflammation. Some tests show he even produces more alkaline blood with less acidity after his breathing exercises. Number 16. The Battery Man. In the 1990s, Serbian Slavica Pajkic, also known as Biba Struja, shot to fame for his incredible ability to withstand dangerously high electric currents without any apparent harm. His extraordinary tolerance earned him the moniker the Battery Man. As a young man, Pajkic discovered he could endure significant voltage without pain or injury. In public shows, he allowed massive jolts to pass through his body, lighting up light bulbs, cooking hot dogs, and exploding fruit. Audiences gasped as Pajkic took a nonchalant stroll through an array of electrical horrors that should electrocute anyone else. His exploits garnered him recognition, and he even became a television sensation, appearing on shows like Super Talent in 2018. Doctors confirmed that Pajkic's abilities were genuine, not illusory. Extensive medical exams found his body somehow adapted to tolerate electricity that would normally provoke cardiac arrest and severe burns. He appeared to redirect current through non-vital paths without consequence. He holds a Guinness World Record for enduring over 20,000 volts coursing through his body, a feat comparable to the power of a lightning bolt. Additionally, he has set another Guinness World Record for rapidly boiling water with his bare hands by channeling electrical current. Number 15. The Artist with Photographic Memory. If you've ever wished for a photographic memory, then Stephen Wiltshire, a renowned British architectural artist, exemplifies that dream. His extraordinary talent enables him to intricately draw cityscapes from memory after merely a fleeting glance, displaying a mental capacity that rivals even the most advanced cameras. Wiltshire was mute as a child and was diagnosed with autism at 3 years old. He had a consuming passion for sketching buildings and animals, sometimes with near photorealistic precision. By age 7, Wiltshire could perfectly render landmarks after studying photos for a short time. His prodigious memory and drawing talent catapulted Wiltshire to fame. He has created sweeping Tokyo cityscapes, Rome panoramas, and other scenes of meticulous detail. Wiltshire took a brief helicopter ride over Rome, then produced astoundingly faithful images of over 200 buildings, perfectly sized and sequenced along streets. Wiltshire can produce these remarkable reproductions from memory alone, without looking at any reference photos as he draws. His innate visual memory appears closely linked to his autism, reflecting rare sensory gifts. He says the world pops out vividly in his mind's eye. Number 14. Man controlling life forces. Zhou Tingjue is a Chinese grandmaster of martial arts and qi cultivation who possesses abilities that seem to defy the laws of physics. He can generate powerful heat from his hands, stand on thin sheets of paper without falling through, and perform other feats that leave scientists baffled. Ting developed his skills through decades of training in ancient Chinese practices like Qigong, Tai Chi, and Kung Fu. He claims to be able to channel his Qi, or life force energy, in ways that give him extraordinary control over his mind, body, and surroundings. One of Ting's signature tricks is to boil water simply by focusing his Qi into his hands. In TV appearances, he has held his palms near a cup of water and caused it to bubble and steam within seconds. He He can even do this through materials like wood or plastic, seemingly violating the laws of thermodynamics. Critics claim Ting may use chemical tricks to heat the water, but his abilities have been verified by scientific studies. Equally astounding is Ting's mastery of sticky palm kung fu, allowing him to stand or sit atop thin objects that should buckle under his weight. He can balance on the edge of a sword or on paper sheets just 2 to 3 millimeters thick. In lab tests, the paper showed no signs of chemical treatment or magnets. Ting credits his light touch and ability to evenly distribute weight through chi control. He has been featured on shows like Ripley's Believe It or Not and Stan Lee's Superhumans. Ting sees himself not just as an entertainer, but as a teacher keeping old traditions alive. Number 13. Superhuman Memory. Kim Peek possessed a singular gift that made him one of the most remarkable savants in history, a superhuman memory, allowing him to perfectly recall the details of over 12,000 books. Peek demonstrated the brain's latent potential. Born in 1951 with macrocephaly and damage to several brain areas, Peek was diagnosed as autistic. His full mental capacities went unknown for years, but around age 16 it was discovered he could speed-read books and recite their contents verbatim afterward. Peek's accurate word-for-word retention covered volumes on history, math, science, sports, and more. His detailed memory extended across at least a dozen topics. Researchers were stunned at Peek's ability to recall random facts on command decades after reading a text only once. Sadly, Peek's brilliance came at a cost. His neurological differences made many tasks difficult and social interaction uncomfortable, but he found purpose in touring and demonstrating his capacity to learn from others. Peek's life illustrated neurodiversity's upside. While atypical wiring caused challenges, it unlocked gifts like flawless recall most could never achieve. Number 12. Superey. Veronica Sider claims to have vision so sharp she can clearly see a person waving over 3 miles away. Her sight is estimated to be at least 20 times better than average human vision. Tests indicate Sider may have one of the most extraordinary cases of supervision in history. Sider's remarkable eyes came to light in the 1960s, while she was a student at Stuttgart University in Germany. Her professor was astounded when Sider reported she could identify people standing over 1 mile distant on campus. Under formal testing, officials used telescopes to confirm Sider's claims, verifying she could distinguish text and faces at unbelievable distances. In fact, Sider doesn't just have excellent distance vision. She appears able to see across the full visual spectrum from micro to macro. Sider can read the date on a normal coin from over 30 feet away. She's also examined snowflakes and insect anatomy under magnification that normally requires a microscope. It's unclear exactly how Sider's visual abilities developed. Those with superior distance vision are thought to have an elongated eyeball shape that reduces light refraction. Sider may represent an extreme outlier with severe visual hypersensitivity that redefines the boundaries of human eyesight. Number 11. Ultramarathon Man. Dean Karnazes pushes the limits of human endurance to their absolute edge. An ultramarathon legend, he's run distances most people could only dream of traveling by car, at speeds rivaling the toughest competitors. Karnazes doesn't just survive these feats, he comes out the other side seemingly ready for more. Karnazes' obsession with super long-distance running began in his 30s, when he spontaneously ran a marathon after a decade of no exercise. He hasn't stopped since, excelling at races exceeding 26 miles. In 2006, he ran 50 marathons in 50 U.S. states in 50 consecutive days, topping it off by running back-to-back marathons in under 24 hours. Even more mind-blowing are Karnazes' time trials. He once ran 50 miles without stopping over 3 days, sleeping only a couple hours each night. In 2011, despite harsh 30-miles-per-hour winds, he completed a treadmill marathon in 2 hours and 50 minutes. How does Karnazes achieve such feats? Besides rigorous training and mental toughness, his body offers some clues. He exhibits exceedingly efficient fat metabolism, maintaining energy despite minimal carbs. His muscles show reduced strain damage after races. He also has a larger-than-average heart muscle. Genetic gifts seem to enable Karnazes to combine extreme endurance with turn-on-a-dime speed. Now in his 50s, Karnazes has inspired countless runners and non-runners alike. His insane accomplishments dramatize just how far dedication and accommodating biology can stretch the human capacity for athletic achievement. For him, the mind gives out well before the body does. Karnazes proves superhuman potential rests within us all, just waiting to be unlocked. Number 10. Human echolocation. Daniel Kish was born with a rare eye cancer that led to the removal of his eyes by the time he was 13 months old. Yet astoundingly, Kish navigates the world with remarkable ease. He does so use a unique form of human echolocation, making visual sense of sound in a way once thought impossible without sight. Kish creates his visionary echoes by making clicking noises with his tongue. The resulting sound waves bounce off objects in his surroundings and return to give him a three-dimensional mental map of his environment. With practice over time, Kish has honed this skill to let him ride bikes, go hiking, and live a highly active life. Echolocation was once considered limited to certain animals like bats and dolphins, but Kish displays an innate human ability to adapt senses, generating new ways to perceive the world when standard ones fail. Through persistent trial and error as a child, he gradually developed expert echolocation using available hearing cues. Now, in his 40s, Kish heads an organization teaching echolocation skill to provide new independence for the blind. He wants people to see the visually impaired as having abilities, not disabilities. Kish proves vision takes many forms, and given the right conditions, radical sensory transformation is possible. When one sense goes dark, others can illuminate a unique path forward, beyond what we ever expected.
I typically navigate airports on my own. My policy is I book assistance.
Number 9. The Bee Charmer. Dr. Norman Gary presents a real-life wizardly ability, controlling massive swarms of stinging bees and wasps with just his voice and hands. Gary has turned the insect world into his orchestra, orchestrating dazzling hive harmonies. Nicknamed the Bee Charmer, Gary is an entomologist and retired professor from the University of California, Davis. Starting beekeeping at the age of 15, he cultivated a sixth sense for insect behavior after being stung thousands of times. Gary holds numerous records showcasing his apian mastery. He once lived in a plexiglass box with over 300,000 bees for 7 days. His most famous feat was hosting a bee beard competition, coating contestants with clusters of bees weighing up to 25 pounds. Gary himself donned over 87 pounds of bees at once. This maestro also bee-witched swarms into celebrity performances. He directed bee flight patterns in TV shows and commercials. For the movie Fried Green Tomatoes, Gary guided hundreds of bees to fly precisely from a jar into actor Mary Stuart Masterson's mouth. Gary's freakish command over bees relies on gentle tactics. He breeds docile bee strains and uses queen bee pheromones to keep swarms calm and in his thrall. Now, in his 80s years old, Gary retains his hive-handling mastery despite some arthritis. To him, bees are not to be feared but befriended. One just needs the right touch. Number 8. The Human Calculator. Scott Flansburgh is known as the Human Calculator for his astonishing ability to perform complex math problems entirely in his head, faster than even computers can. Born in Arizona in 1963, Flansburgh showed early gifts for mental calculation. He could intuitively solve math facts and visualize numbers as imagery. Later in life, he was diagnosed with multiple learning disabilities, including ADHD. Yet he leveraged these differences into skills rivaling top mathematicians. Flansburgh can mentally square, find cube roots, calculate large factorials, identify primes, and more. He instantly outcalculates the fastest calculators, solving problems like the factorial of 93, which took old calculators some moments to process. During a TV appearance, Flansburgh squared random double-digit numbers in under 3 seconds each. In 2001, Flansburgh set a Guinness World Record for adding the same number to itself more times in 15 seconds than someone using a calculator. He reached 127, while the calculator reached only 116. 2 years later, he broke his own record by reaching 108.3. Flansburgh believes his mental math prowess relies on memorizing images and patterns. He sees numbers as shapes and then manipulates them visually. This innate gift only improved with practice. Though unique in degree, Flansburgh feels anyone can sharpen their mental calculation through similar techniques. Nicknamed the Math Magician, Flansburgh entertains audiences worldwide with his computational wizardry. He's also authored books on teaching math skills creatively. Number 7. The Rubber Boy. Contortionist Daniel Browning Smith has gained worldwide fame for twisting his body into the most extreme positions imaginable. Nicknamed the Rubber Boy, his shocking flexibility resembles a human version of elastic. Smith was born in Georgia in 1979. At age 4, his family noticed his ability to contort into bizarre poses. He eventually turned this knack into an entertainment career, performing at events globally. Smith has appeared on TV shows like Stan Lee's Superhumans. Among his many notable contortions, Smith can dislocate both shoulders to squeeze through unbelievably narrow spaces. He can twist his leg 3 to 60 degrees and touch his whole foot to the back of his head. Smith can even turn his torso 180 degrees, allowing him to face backward. Doctors confirm Smith's rubber-like pliancy is real, not camera trickery. He owes it partly to genetic factors like extra cartilage, double jointedness, and loose ligaments that allow his bones to separate more. His spine also contains an extra vertebra, enabling greater movement. Years of intensive stretching and exercise let Smith take full advantage of his anatomical gifts. He sees contortionism as analogous to strength training. With enough practice, we can all become more flexible beyond what we thought possible. For Smith, reshaping the human form is limited mostly by the imagination and dedication to make it happen.
Now my hand is totally dislocated. My arm's dislocated.
Number 6. The girl with X-ray vision. Natasha Demkina of Russia claims to possess a mysterious psychic power, the ability to see inside human bodies and diagnose medical conditions. While controversial, she passed some early testing that backed up her extraordinary vision claims. From a young age, Demkina said she could visualize people's internal organs and structures by looking at their surface. This allowed her to detect issues like tumors, inflammations, and fractures, even pinpointing locations accurately on a scan. Her family accepted her gift as real, and word gradually spread. Eventually, in the early 2000s, Demkina underwent preliminary testing by researchers in Britain. One study had her assess a group of 10 volunteers, 7 of whom had issues like endometriosis and organ lesions. Demkina was able to correctly identify 6 out of the 7 subjects with health problems, although she provided some false positives. Further testing proved inconsistent, however. During a later study, she failed to spot implanted prosthetics and other test objects in a double-blind trial. Critics argued she relied partially upon cold-reading lucky guesses. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Africa has many tribes preserving ancient lifestyles, living as their ancestors did long ago despite cultural changes. Researchers visit to study their languages and customs. One linguistic researcher in Mali's Central Plateau met a shocking tribe. The people of this tribe violate all the laws of physics. Some members could levitate at will. They could float up into the air by will alone without any visible means of support. There are similar accounts of Asian monks levitating after certain meditative practices, so perhaps human levitation is possible, though scientifically unexplained. If true, this phenomenon raises fascinating questions. Do we all have untapped abilities? Can the power of the mind override the laws of nature? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Number 5. Man with the stretchiest skin. Gary Turner of England has skin so elastic, he can stretch and distort it dramatically beyond normal human limits. His extreme skin flexibility results from a rare connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Turner was born in the UK in 1971 with Ehlers-Danlos, although he wasn't diagnosed until adulthood. The condition leaves collagen proteins in his skin much weaker, allowing his epidermis to expand like rubber. Turner can pull the skin on his abdomen over 6 inches without pain or damage. Amazingly, Turner's pliable skin isn't limited to his stomach. He can pull the skin on his hands, arms, face, and other areas significantly past what anyone else could. Turner can even twist his excess skin into rope-like cords if he wishes. Doctors warn that Ehlers-Danlos comes with risks, however. Weak collagen means Turner's blood vessels could rupture more easily. His loose joints are also prone to frequent painful dislocations. Still, he sees his extraordinarily stretchy skin as making the best of his difference.
I was probably about 8 years old, messing around at school, and I asked a friend next to me, "Can you do this?"
Number 4. The mystic who survived without food or water. The Sadhu Prahlad Jani was an Indian ascetic who claimed he could survive entirely without food or water due to spiritual powers. Devotees regard him as a breatharian who lived over 5 decades without sustenance by divine grace alone. Born in 1940, Jani left his home at the age of 13 to pursue a mystic's path, renouncing material needs. He claimed the goddess Amba blessed him with immortality and freedom from hunger or thirst. Starting around the age of 17, Jani gave up food and drink entirely according to his followers. In 2003, Jani's alleged lack of nourishment was studied closely under observation. After 15 days of abstinence from all food and water intake, medical exams showed Johnny's metabolism was near normal. Doctors conceded he survived through extreme fasting and fluid restriction. Skeptics consider such breatharian claims physically impossible. However, Johnny's case remains an extraordinary account of adapting to prolonged deprivation through spiritual devotion. While deemed impossible, he pushed the boundaries of our models of human limits. Johnny passed away in 2019 at age 76 after over 5 decades reportedly without food or water. Number 3. Magnetic Man. In parts of Malaysia, Lu Teng Lin is celebrated as an intriguing real-life anomaly dubbed the Magnetic Man. Teng Lin can make metal objects like spoons, pins, nails, and weights stick to his flesh as if it were a magnet. Witnesses gasp as he turns his skin into an attraction surface able to hold over 80 pounds of adherence. Teng Lin claims no trickery is involved. Experts reviewing his ability agree there is no magnetic field emanating from his body. Extensive testing by Malaysia's University Technologi found no implants, tattoos, or any source creating a magnetic force. Instead, Teng Lin seems to have extraordinarily high skin friction that creates an impressive suction effect. Scientists discovered his sweat ducts act like tiny suction cups, aided possibly by sticky skin oils that help objects adhere tightly. This human suction hypothesis appears the best theory for Teng Lin's feats, though his exact skin properties remain a mystery. Amazingly, Teng Lin's power is genetic. 3 of his grandchildren inherited the same gift, able to coat parts of their bodies with metal objects as if slathering on temporary metallic tattoos. They can even stick cutlery, pots, and pans to their faces and chests. Skeptics argue there must be some trickery at play, but Teng Lin's abilities have been repeatedly verified, earning him recognition in the Malaysia Book of Records as the country's top attraction. For now, the Magnetic Man remains one of the world's strangest anomalies, a real-life magnet without magnetism who seems to defy our understanding of physics and the human body.
There's no magnetic field that I can detect here.
Number 2. The Human Dolphin. Stig Severinsen, a Danish freediver, has boldly pushed the boundaries of underwater breath-holding. With remarkable mastery over his heart, lungs, and mind, he has not only pioneered new frontiers, but also shattered numerous Guinness World Records. Severinsen was born in 1976 and became a world-class free diver in addition to earning a PhD in biomedicine. He wanted to understand how to maximally exploit human physiology for breath-holding durations once thought impossible. In 2012, Severinsen set a Guinness record by holding his breath underwater for 22 minutes. For his feats, he undergoes specialized training to increase his lung capacity, optimize energy consumption, and remain calm through meditation. He also leverages the mammalian diving reflex to conserve oxygen when underwater. Severinsen has built upon centuries of breathing techniques from cultures worldwide that allow influence over normally involuntary physiological processes. Through investigation and practice, he believes we can all access latent abilities to consciously regulate heart rate, blood flow, oxygen use, and more. Number 1. Modern-day samurai. Japanese martial artist Isao Machi displays extraordinary sword skills that leave viewers asking if he's superhuman. His lightning-quick reflexes let him slice objects too fast for the naked eye to follow. Machi is a master of iaido, the art of sword drawing and cutting in a single motion. While many aim to perfect technique, Machi has skills exceeding what should be possible. He can cut a BB pellet in mid-air, slice a tennis ball at over 400 miles per hour, and much more. Slow-motion cameras reveal the blinding speed and accuracy behind Machi's blade work. No normal human should be able to react and precisely cut objects moving so fast. He also cuts items tossed behind him, relying on honed intuition rather than sight. Machi credits his feats to Mushin, a mental state of no mind that allows pure instinct to guide his reactions. He has internalized technique so fully that it flows automatically without conscious thought slowing him. Years of training grant him preternatural anticipation and control. While untouchable with a sword today, Machi sees his skills as achievable by anyone. His brilliance shows the heights possible. When our knowledge becomes so deeply ingrained, it operates subconsciously. When action merges with being, the supernatural may simply be waiting within to flow forth. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.